Hi, this is Lady Lex UK and here's another tutorial for Project Spark. I've had a audience request from iZearNet. Sorry if I've not pronounced that correctly. Might you know how to do the Conker thing where you smack a key up to use on an object later? Now, I wasn't 100% sure what that meant, so I had a look at Conker's Bad Fur Day, and what I understand is that Conker, in order to open some locked doors, has to shoot a character that is shaped like a key, knock them out, and carry them over to the door. So this is what I've built, and I'm hoping this is what iZearNet is after. So here is Conker, he has a gun. Here is a door he wants to get through. So I'm going to select that B.
Not doing that.
He said, nope, it's locked.
Not doing that.
He's not doing that. So I can't get through that door because it's locked. So I'm going to shoot this character here. He's died. I'm now going to pick him up. There we go. And then I'm carrying him to the door. Press B. And then I go through the door and you'll note I've still got my gun. There we go. So let me show you how that is done. Now, it was a lot more complicated than I was expecting it to be. There are some issues with this key character, which meant I couldn't do it the way I would normally do a death animation. It doesn't work, the brain does not work very well once the character is dead, and there's all sorts of things I couldn't do. So, this is how I've done it. This is just an ordinary key with an ordinary wandering key brain. I haven't altered it at all. The only things that I have changed is in his health and defences, I've just turned destroy after death off. You need to make sure that you do that. Here in this logic cube, is the rules for what happens when that key dies. So when the key is dead and you do it in world pick, you create a sword. I'll show that in a minute, at the position of the key's head position, and we'll make that key collidable, non-collidable and invisible. And this is the sword we're going to create. This is a templated object. Let me just pull this away from here. Now you can see there you have this sword. It also has a sphere attached to it, slightly off center on the pommel. And this is to make the sword fall over. Because I was finding that it was possible to actually spawn this sword and it to stay completely upright, which is not what we want. We want the key to fall over. So this makes sure that when it's created, when it's spawned, it will fall over. It is a tumbling prop, and this will make sure it definitely tumbles. So that's an invisible sphere attached to it, and we've also attached our key. This is a copy of this key here. We've attached that to it, and inside the key's brain we have set a pace to 0.001. Now I was expecting to set that to 0 as normal, but for some reason, and I've tried changing the collidability settings and all sorts of things, it didn't make any difference. If I set that to 0, the sword goes flying off. It's very bizarre, and I really can't explain why, but if I set it to 0.001, it's practically 0, and this will work, and it doesn't cause a collision issue. So in the sword brain, first of all, we're going to destroy the key. Now, if you're going to use this key on multiple occasions, this is a one key, one door situation. You would have to create the entire mechanism again in order to create another door with another key. So that's the way I've done it. So this key opens that door only. Just bear that in mind. Right, so after a countdown timer of 1 gives it a chance to fall over, you can interact with the sword, and it will have a look in the player, and it will set an object variable called equipment to be whatever the player has got equipped, which in the case of this game, it's an SMG. Then it's going to unequip that to the inventory, and it's going to equip the sword. It's then also going to pass a boolean called has key to the player and making it true. Okay, so now we're going to place this key as attached to the sword. We're going to place it in a place on that sword so that it looks as if you're grabbing it round about the neck part of that key. So have a look about where the person's going to handle that sword, where his hand's going to be on the sword, and then place the key where you want that to be, like so. Right, let's have a look in the door. Right, when it does not have power and has not set the key in boolean to be true, so when the key in boolean is false, and you detect the player, we're going to display a B button at the wall position. Now, the reason I'm doing that is because these castle doors are rather large, and the default interaction code in the player's brain puts the B above the door, but you can't really see that. So in order to display a B lower down, I've added it in here. So you've got a B down at his feet as well as above the door. Just to add a little bit, otherwise you can't see the B. So the player hasn't got an idea that they've got to press B. Right, when you interact with the door, if the player has key equals true, so if the boolean has key has been set to true in the player brain, then key in equals true. We'll then set the player's boolean has key back to false because we're going to take the key off him. We're going to destroy what he has equipped, which is the key, and then we're going to equip him with whatever the object variable was that was set in his brain, which, if you remember rightly, was the SMG. Else, locked equals true. So if he doesn't have the key, then we're going to set a boolean called locked. So when the boolean key in is set, we're going to wait 3 seconds, and then we're going to power on and open the door, and that's all that is for that. If the door is locked, so if the locked boolean is set to true, then we're going to display nope, it's locked, and then we're going to play a sound of Conker saying no, and then after 1 second we're going to set that boolean back to be false so that you can do it all over again. Then here is the key. You notice we've placed a key in the door already, and that's attached to the door. Make sure you attach it to the door and not the frame. When the owner's key in boolean is set to true, then it will be visible. Otherwise, it will be invisible. And when it is visible, it's going to play a sort of a noise. I thought that was quite nice. And that's it. That's it for this tutorial. And you'll notice that I've put the detect sensor on because I have to make the detect sensor a lot bigger on this door so that it will show that B at the distance that the player would normally interact with interactable objects. So there we go. There is the mechanic for killing a key, picking it up, and opening a door. Hope that was useful. Thank you for watching, and keep sparking!